First contact, the arrival. The day the Zorax arrived was like any other on Earth. Dr. Lara Chen sat in her office at the United Earth Space Agency, poring over data from deep space probes. Her dark hair was pulled back in a messy bun, and her glasses slid down her nose as she leaned in close to her holographic display. A sudden commotion outside her office drew her attention. Colleagues rushed past, their faces a mix of excitement and fear. Lara's comm device buzzed urgently. "Dr. Chen, report to the command center immediately," came the terse voice of Director Hawkins. Heart racing, Lyra hurried through the corridors. The command center was a hive of activity, screens flickering with incoming data and urgent messages. Director Hawkins, a tall man with graying hair and a perpetual frown, motioned her over. "Chen, we've got a situation. An alien vessel just entered Earth's orbit." Lyra's eyes widened. "First contact? Are you sure?" Hawkins nodded grimly. "They're hailing us now. We need your expertise as our lead xenolinguist." On the main screen, a sleek, silvery ship hung in Earth's orbit, unlike anything humans had ever constructed. Its surface rippled like liquid metal, defying known physics. "Open the channel," Hawkins ordered. The screen flickered, and Lyra found herself face to face with an alien. The Zorax, as they would later introduce themselves, had iridescent blue skin that seemed to shimmer. Their eyes were large and entirely black, set in a face that was vaguely humanoid, but unmistakably alien. Lyra stepped forward, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Greetings. I am Dr. Lyra Chen of Earth. We welcome you in peace." The alien's response came through the translation software, a melodic series of clicks and whistles. "We are the Zorax. Your primitive signals have reached our space. We come to assess your species." Lyra frowned at the term primitive, but pressed on. "We're honored by your visit. We have much to learn from each other." The Zorax expression was unreadable. "Perhaps. We will land and meet with your leaders. Prepare a suitable location." The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving the humans in stunned silence. "Well," Hawkins said, breaking the tension, "looks like we're hosting some guests. Chen, you're our point person on this. Make it happen." The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity. World leaders were notified, a landing site was prepared, and security measures were hastily put in place. Lyra found herself at the center of it all, coordinating with diplomats and scientists from around the globe. As the Zorax ship descended, a crowd gathered at the designated landing site. Lyra stood at the forefront, flanked by world leaders and military personnel. The ship touched down with barely a whisper, its surface still rippling like water. A hatch opened, and 3 Zorax emerged. Up close, their alienness was even more apparent. They moved with an otherworldly grace, their bodies seeming to flow rather than walk. Lyra stepped forward, arms open in a gesture of welcome. "On behalf of humanity, welcome to Earth." The lead Zorax, taller than the others, regarded her with those unsettling black eyes. "We accept your welcome, though we find your planet unsettling." Lyra blinked, taken aback. "Unsettling? In what way?" The Zorax's skin rippled, perhaps their version of a shrug. "Your atmosphere is thick and oppressive. Your gravity is uncomfortably strong. And the odors," it trailed off, making a sound that might have been disgust. Lyra fought to keep her composure. "I'm sorry you find our world uncomfortable. Perhaps we can make arrangements to ease your stay." The Zorax leader made a dismissive gesture. "It is tolerable for now. We wish to speak with your leaders about your species' place in the galactic community." As Lyra led the Zorax delegation towards the waiting world leaders, she couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. The aliens' attitude was far from the friendly first contact humanity had dreamed of for centuries. Over the next few days, tensions only grew. The Zorax, it turned out, viewed humans as a barely civilized species, still struggling with primitive technologies and barbaric social structures. They seemed particularly disgusted by human biology, recoiling at the sight of sweat or the sound of a sneeze. Laura found herself working around the clock, trying to bridge the widening gap between humans and Zorax. She pored over their language, studied their customs, and tried to find common ground. One evening, as she was leaving yet another tense meeting, she overheard two Zorax speaking in their native tongue. Her blood ran cold as she translated their words. "These humans are even more revolting than we thought. Perhaps it would be kinder to simply sterilize this world and be done with it." Lyra's mind raced. The situation was worse than anyone had realized. Humanity wasn't just facing cultural misunderstanding, they were facing potential extinction. As she hurried back to her office, Lyra knew she had to do something drastic. The fate of her entire species might rest on her ability to change the Zorax's perception of humanity. With trembling hands, she began to draft a proposal. It was risky, potentially even foolish, but it might be their only chance. She would propose a cultural exchange program, a chance for humans and Zorax to truly understand each other. As the sun rose on a new day, Lyra steeled herself for the challenge ahead. She would show the Zorax the true strength of humanity, not through technology or military might, but through courage, compassion, and an indomitable spirit. Little did she know, her actions would set in motion a chain of events that would change the course of galactic history forever. Cultural clash, the challenge. The Zorax embassy loomed over the New York skyline, a twisted spire of liquid metal that seemed to defy gravity. Dr. Lyra Chen stood at its base, her heart pounding as she prepared to present her radical proposal. "You've got this, Lyra," she muttered to herself, clutching her datapad. "Just remember, humanity's fate depends on you, no pressure." As she entered the building, the air shimmed with an alien energy that made her skin tingle. Zorax guards, their blue skin rippling with barely concealed disgust, escorted her to the grand chamber where the alien leaders awaited. Ambassador Zixler, the lead Zorax diplomat, fixed Lyra with its unsettling black eyes. "Speak, human. What is so important that you demand our presence?" Lyra took a deep breath and activated her holographic display. "Esteemed Zorax, I propose a cultural exchange program, a chance for our species to truly understand each other." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of clicks and whistles, Zorax laughter. Ambassador Zixler's skin flushed a deep indigo. "You jest, surely. Why would we debase ourselves by living among your kind?" Lyra stood her ground. "Because, Ambassador, you've judged us without truly knowing us. You've seen our flaws, but not our potential. Give us one chance to show you who we really are." She gestured, and the hologram changed to show scenes from human history. The moon landing, the eradication of diseases, acts of incredible heroism and kindness. "We may seem primitive to you, but we've achieved wonders with far less than you have. Imagine what we could accomplish together." The Zorax murmured among themselves, their skin changing colors rapidly. Finally, Zixler spoke. "An intriguing proposal, but why should we risk contamination by your species?" Lyra smiled. It was time for her trump card. "Because, Ambassador, we've discovered something in our research of your language and culture. Something you've lost." The chamber fell silent. Zixler leaned forward. "Explain." "Emotions," Lyra said simply. "In your quest for perfection, you've engineered them out of your species. But we found references in your ancient texts to feelings, to passion, to love. We can teach you what you've forgotten." The Zorax erupted in angry protests, but Lyra could see the spark of curiosity in Zixler's eyes. "Silence," the ambassador commanded. It turned to Lyra. "You walk a dangerous path, human, but you have piqued our interest. We will agree to this exchange on one condition." Lyra nodded, bracing herself. "You, Dr. Chen, will be the human representative. You will come to our homeworld, submit yourself to our studies, and attempt to prove the worth of your species." The room spun around Lyra. Leave Earth, travel to an alien world. But she knew she had no choice. "I accept," she said firmly. Zixela's skin rippled in what might have been approval. Very well. Prepare yourself, Dr. Chen. In one cycle of your moon, you'll depart for Zorax Prime. May your species prove more interesting than we've observed thus far. As Lyra left the embassy on shaky legs, her mind raced. She had done it. Humanity had a chance. But at what cost? Weeks flew by in a blur of preparations. Lyra underwent rigorous physical training, xenobiology crash courses, and countless psychological evaluations. The weight of her responsibility was overwhelming. The night before her departure, Lyra stood on the roof of her apartment building, gazing at the stars that would soon be her destination. A familiar voice broke her reverie. Quite a view, isn't it? Lyra turned to see Director Hawkins, looking uncharacteristically casual in jeans and a sweater. Sir, what are you doing here? Hawkins smiled wryly. Checking on Earth's first interstellar ambassador. How are you holding up, Chen? Lyra sighed. Terrified, excited, nauseous. Take your pick. All normal responses to making history, Hawkins chuckled. Then his expression grew serious. Lyra, what you doing? It's beyond brave. It's the stuff of legends. He handed her a small metallic object, a gift from Earth. It's a quantum-entangled communicator. No matter where you are in the galaxy, you'll always have a link home. Lyra's eyes welled up as she clutched the device. Thank you, sir. As the sun rose on launch day, crowds gathered to witness humanity's first step into the galactic community. Lyra, clad in a specially designed suit to help her survive on the Zorax homeworld, waved to the cheering masses as she boarded the alien ship. Ambassador Zixela awaited her. Are you prepared, human? Lyra met its gaze steadily. As I'll ever be. Let's make history. The ship's hull rippled, and with a flash of light, Earth vanished. Lyra's incredible journey had begun. Little did she know, far across the galaxy, ancient forces were stirring, forces that would test not just Lyra, but the very foundations of both human and Zorax civilization. The true challenge was only just beginning. Breaking barriers, the cosmic dance. The Zorax ship hurtled through the cosmos, a streak of liquid silver against the velvet backdrop of space. Inside, Dr. Lara Chen floated in a chamber filled with a shimmering gelatinous substance that cushioned her body against the mind-bending speeds of alien FTL travel. As stars blurred past, Lara's mind raced faster than the ship itself. What awaited her on Zorax Prime? Would she be able to change their perception of humanity? And most pressingly, why did the gel taste like mint toothpaste? A sudden lurch signaled their arrival. The gel drained away, leaving Lyra gasping and dripping on the floor. Ambassador Zixela entered, its skin rippling with what might have been amusement. Welcome to Zorax Prime, human. Try not to contaminate anything with your fluids. Lyra stood shakily, activating her protective suit. Wouldn't dream of it, Ambassador, shall we? The ship's hull melted away, revealing a world that defied imagination. Crystalline spires stretched towards a sky painted in hues of lavender and gold. Vehicles that seemed more alive than mechanical zipped through the air. And everywhere, Zorax moved with fluid grace, their bodies shimmering like living opals. As Lyra took her first steps on alien soil, a hush fell over the gathered crowd. Thousands of black eyes stared, a mix of curiosity and revulsion evident in their ever-changing skin tones. A booming voice echoed across the plaza. Citizens of Zorax Prime, behold the human specimen. Lyra bristled at being called a specimen but held her tongue. This was not the time for pride. Over the next few days, Lyra was poked, prodded, and studied in ways she hadn't thought possible. She submitted to their tests with grace, always looking for opportunities to showcase humanity's best qualities. During a particularly invasive brain scan, Lyra struck up a conversation with a young Zorax scientist named Vexalia. So, Lyra said casually as electrodes were attached to her scalp, what made you want to study disgusting aliens like me? Vexalia's skin flushed a deep purple. I find your species fascinating, actually. Your biology is so inefficient, yet you've achieved so much. Lyra grinned. Well, we're full of surprises. Speaking of which, she'd focused intently, and suddenly the brain scan readouts went wild. Vexalia gasped. Impossible. You're controlling your own brainwaves. Just a little trick I picked up in meditation class, Lyra winked. Want me to teach you? From that moment, a tentative friendship began to form. Lyra found herself spending more time with Vexalia, explaining human concepts and learning about Zorak's culture in return. One day, as they walked through a garden of crystalline plants, Vexalia asked a question that caught Lyra off guard. Lyra, what is love? Lyra blinked, surprised. Love? It's complicated. It's a feeling, an emotion. It's when you care about someone so deeply that their happiness becomes as important as your own. Vexalia's skin swirled with patterns Lyra had never seen before. We have no equivalent. It sounds chaotic, dangerous even. Oh, it is, Lyra laughed. But it's also beautiful. Here, let me show you something. She pulled out a small holoprojector and played a scene from Romeo and Juliet. As the star-crossed lovers professed their devotion, Vexalia's eyes widened. This is fiction, yes? No real beings will act so, irrationally. Lyra smiled softly. It's fiction, but inspired by real emotions. Love has inspired our greatest art, our most heroic acts, and yes, sometimes our greatest tragedies. It's part of what makes us human. As they continued their walk, Nathan noticed the other Zoraks watching from afar, their skin cycling through colors of confusion and alarm. Weeks passed, and Lyra found herself making surprising progress. More and more Zoraks sought her out, curious about human culture and emotions. She taught them about music, introduced them to the concept of dancing, and even managed to make a few laugh, a sound like tinkling crystals that she found oddly beautiful. But not everyone was pleased with these developments. Hardline factions within Zorak society viewed Lyra's influence as a corruption of their perfect order. Whispers of a plot against the human contaminant reached Ambassador Zixla's ears. Late one night, as Lyra slept in her quarters, alarms blared to life. The room filled with a noxious gas, and Lyra awoke choking and disoriented. Through blurry eyes, she saw her door melt away, and a figure rushed in. Lyra, we must go now. It was Vexalia, her skin pulsing with urgent patterns. Coughing, Lyra stumbled after her friend through twisting corridors. What's happening? Extremists, Vexalia explained as they ran. They're trying to eliminate you and anyone contaminated by human ideas. They've released a virus designed to target human DNA. They burst out onto a landing pad where Ambassador Zixla waited by a small ship. Its skin was a storm of colors Lyra had never seen before. Was that fear? Quickly, both of you, Zixla urged. We're evacuating to the cosmic nexus. It's our only hope. As they boarded the ship, Lyra's mind reeled. A virus targeting human DNA. A secret cosmic nexus. And since when did Zoraks feel fear? The ship took off just as explosions rocked the city behind them. As they shot into space, Lyra looked back at the world she'd tried so hard to connect with, now descending into chaos. I'm sorry, she whispered. I only wanted to bring our peoples together. I never meant for this to happen. Vexalia placed a tentative hand on Lyra's shoulder, the first time a Zorax had willingly touched her. You've done more than you know, Lyra. You've awakened something in us, something long forgotten. As their ship hurtled towards the mysterious cosmic nexus, Lyra realized that her mission had grown far beyond a simple cultural exchange. She was now at the heart of a conflict that could reshape the galaxy itself. With a determined set to her jaw, Lyra turned to her unlikely allies. All right then, let's go save both our worlds. Little did they know, the true test of humanity's worth and the fate of two civilizations awaited them at the edge of known space. Cosmic Nexus, the Awakening. The ship hurtled through the quantum slipstream, reality bending around them in ways that made Lyra's eyes water. Ambassador Zixler stood at the helm, its skin a kaleidoscope of colors Lyra had never seen before. "We approach the cosmic nexus," Zixler announced, its voice uncharacteristically tight. "Prepare yourselves. What you're about to see has been hidden from both our species for millennia." The slipstream dissolved, and Lyra's jaw dropped. Before them floated a massive structure that defied comprehension. It looked like a colossal, multidimensional snowflake, each facet shimmering with energy that seemed to flicker in and out of existence. "By all that's holy," Lyra breathed. "What is this place?" Vexalia's skin pulsed with excitement. The cosmic nexus. A hub of ancient technology left by the precursors. It's said to be the key to unlocking the true potential of sentient species. As their ship approached, a beam of iridescent light engulfed them. Lyra felt a tingling sensation throughout her body, like every cell was being scanned and analyzed. A voice, neither male nor female, human nor Zorax, echoed in their minds. "Welcome, children of Earth and Zorax Prime. You have been found worthy to enter the Nexus." The ship was drawn into a docking bay that seemed to materialize out of nowhere. As they disembarked, Lyra noticed something odd. "Ambassador, your environmental suit, you're not wearing one." Zixler's skin rippled in what Lyra now recognized as surprise. "Neither are you, Dr. Chen." Lyra looked down at herself in shock. Her protective suit was gone, yet she was breathing comfortably. More than that, she felt different, energized, as if every sense had been heightened. "The Nexus has adapted our biology," Vexalia explained, her voice filled with awe. "We can survive in the same environment now." They made their way deeper into the Nexus, surrounded by technology so advanced it seemed like magic. Holographic displays sprang to life around them, showing images of Earth and Zorax Prime. The voice spoke again. "Your species stand at a crossroads. The conflict on Zorax Prime is but a symptom of a greater imbalance. To survive what is to come, you must evolve. You must become more than you are." Suddenly, the floor beneath them became transparent. Lyra gasped as she saw what lay below, a vast chamber filled with swirling, luminescent energy. "The heart of the Nexus," Zixler whispered. "Legends speak of its power to reshape reality itself." Before anyone could react, tendrils of energy shot up from the heart, enveloping Lyra and Vexalia. Lyra felt a rush of something flooding through her mind. Images, feelings, knowledge she couldn't possibly have known. When the light faded, Lyra staggered, her mind reeling. She looked at Vexalia and froze. She could see the Zorax's thoughts, could feel her emotions. "Lyra," Vexalia said, her voice trembling. I can feel, truly feel, and I can sense your thoughts." Zixler watched in amazement as Lyra's skin began to shimmer with Zorax-like patterns, while Vexalia's eyes had become startlingly human. The voice of the Nexus resonated once more. "You have been given a gift. The best of both species, merged into something new. With this power comes great responsibility. You must unite your peoples and prepare them for the coming storm." "What storm?" Lyra asked, her new senses tingling with foreboding. In response, a massive hologram appeared, showing a dark force creeping across the galaxy, consuming everything in its path. "The void," Zixler breathed. "It's real. The ancient enemy that nearly destroyed the precursors eons ago. It's returning." Lyra's mind raced with newfound knowledge. "That's why your people evolved to suppress emotions, isn't it? To hide from the void's empathic hunters. And it's why humanity's emotional strength is so important." Vexalia nodded, tears, actual tears, forming in her now human eyes. "We need your passion, your drive, and you need our technology, our unity." A rumble shook the Nexus. Alarms blared as a new hologram appeared, showing the Zorax battle fleet approaching. "The extremists," Zixlar hissed. "They followed us. They'll destroy the Nexus to prevent change." Lyra stood tall, feeling the power of the Nexus coursing through her. No, they won't. We won't let them. She reached out with her mind, connecting with the Nexus's systems. Information flooded her consciousness. Weapon schematics, battle strategies, the very fabric of space-time bending to her will. Vexalia, can you operate the Nexus's defenses? Lyra asked, her skin shimmering with determination. Vexalia nodded, her eyes gleaming with human-like determination. With you, I can do anything. As the extremist fleet opened fire, Lyra and Vexalia moved in perfect sync, their merged abilities creating a symphony of technological and biological mastery. Shield harmonics adapted in real time, countermeasures anticipated attacks before they happened. Ambassador Zixlar watched in awe as the two beings, neither fully human nor fully Zorax, danced a deadly waltz with the attacking fleet. In the midst of the battle, Lyra had an epiphany. The heart of the Nexus. We can use it to broadcast the truth to both our worlds. Show them what we've learned, what we've become. Vexalia caught on immediately. A galaxy-wide empathic link. It's dangerous, but it's our only chance, Lyra finished. Together, they plunged their consciousness into the heart of the Nexus. Energy surged through them, carrying their thoughts, their memories, their newfound understanding to every corner of the galaxy. For a moment, every human and every Zorax shared in their experience. They felt the fear, the wonder, the potential of their unified strength. They saw the looming threat of the void and understood the need for unity. As the energy faded, Lyra and Vexalia collapsed, exhausted but triumphant. The extremist fleet hung motionless in space, its crew forever changed by what they'd experienced. Ambassador Zixlar helped them to their feet, its skin glowing with an emotion Lyra now recognized as hope. You've done it. You've given us a chance. Lyra smiled, feeling the echoes of billions of minds touched by their message. No, Ambassador. We've given us all a chance. The real work is just beginning. As they looked out at the stars, Lyra knew that the galaxy would never be the same. Humanity and the Zorax were irrevocably linked, changed, and empowered. Whatever the void might bring, they would face it together. The cosmic nexus hummed with energy, a beacon of hope in the vast darkness of space, and at its heart stood a human and a Zorax, no longer divided by their differences, but united in their shared destiny. Little did they know, this was just the beginning of an adventure that would reshape the very fabric of the cosmos. Echoes of evolution, the galactic crucible. The aftermath of the Cosmic Nexus event rippled across the galaxy like a stone thrown into a cosmic pond. Lara Chen and Vexalia, their beings forever altered by the merging of human and Zorax essences, found themselves at the center of a galactic revolution. As their ship, now imbued with Nexus energy, sailed through the star-studded void, holographic transmissions flooded in from every corner of both civilizations. Humans and Zorax alike were experiencing unprecedented awakenings. Look at this, Vexalia gasped, her newly emotional voice filled with wonder. She projected a series of images, a human child levitating toys with her mind, a Zorax weeping tears of joy for the first time, entire cities on both planets transforming as the inhabitants' newfound abilities reshaped matter itself. Lyra nodded, her skin shimmering with Zorax-like patterns of excitement. The Nexus didn't just change us, it unlocked the potential in everyone. Ambassador Zixlar, who had been quietly observing, spoke up. With great power comes great chaos. Look. Another series of projections appeared, showing scenes of confusion and conflict. Some humans were overwhelmed by their new empathic abilities, experiencing the emotions of entire crowds. Zorax, suddenly flooded with unfamiliar feelings, reacted with fear and aggression. We've given them the gift of evolution, Lyra mused, but not the wisdom to use it. Then that must be our next mission, Vexalia declared, her human-like eyes gleaming with determination. Their ship banked sharply, responding to their thoughts before they could even verbalize a destination. They were headed to Earth first, where the chaos seemed most intense. As they entered Earth's atmosphere, the sight below took their breath away. Cities had been transformed into fantastic structures that defied physics, glittering spires of thought-shaped matter reaching towards the heavens. They landed in what used to be Central Park in New York, now a swirling vortex of elemental energies as awakened humans experimented with their new abilities. The moment Lyra stepped off the ship, she was nearly overwhelmed by the torrent of thoughts and emotions bombarding her enhanced senses. She steeled herself, drawing on her Zorax-given control, and projected a calming aura. "People of Earth," her voice rang out, amplified by the Nexus energy within her. "I know you're scared and confused, but this is not a curse. It's the next step in our evolution." A crowd gathered, their faces a mix of fear, awe, and hope. A young woman stepped forward, her hands crackling with energy she couldn't control. "How do we stop it?" I can't turn it off." Lyra smiled gently, taking the woman's hands in her own. The energy flowed between them, stabilizing. "You don't stop it. You embrace it. Let me show you." What followed was a crash course in cosmic consciousness. Lyra and Vexalia moved through the crowd, teaching breathing techniques to control empathic overload, guiding people through the basics of matter manipulation, and most importantly, helping them understand the responsibility that came with their gifts. As night fell, the chaos had subsided into a tentative order. The park had become a makeshift school of evolved humanity, with those who had gained control helping others to do the same. Vexalia, who had been monitoring global communications, turned to Lyra with worry etched on her features. "The situation on Zorax Prime is deteriorating. The sudden influx of emotions, it's tearing our society apart." Lyra nodded grimly. "Then that's where we go next. Earth has taken its first steps. It's time to help your people do the same." As they prepared to leave, a holographic transmission flickered to life. It showed scenes from across the galaxy, other alien races affected by the Nexus wave, evolving in their own unique ways. "By the stars," Zixla breathed. "The changes, they're not limited to our two species." Lyra's eyes widened as she absorbed the implications. The cosmic nexus didn't just prepare us for the coming threat, it's uplifting the entire galaxy. As their ship took off, headed for Zorax Prime, the enormity of their task settled upon them. They had unlocked the next stage of galactic evolution, but with it came the monumental responsibility of guiding billions of newly awakened beings. The journey to Zorax Prime was tense. Reports flowing in painted a picture of a world in turmoil, a society built on logic and control now drowning in a sea of unfamiliar passions. When they arrived, the crystal spires of the Zorax cities were fracturing, shattered by the psychic storms of unchecked emotions. Lyra could feel the pain and confusion radiating from the planet like a palpable force. "Oh, Lyra," Vexalia whispered, tears streaming down her face. "What have we done to them?" Lyra squeezed her friend's hand. "We've given them the chance to truly live. Now we help them learn how." They landed in the heart of the capital, where a maelstrom of colorful energy swirled, the visible manifestation of Zorax's emotional chaos. Lyra and Vexalia stepped out, their merged human Zorax nature acting as a beacon of balance. "People of Zorax Prime," Vexalia called out, her voice carried on waves of empathic energy. "I know you're suffering. I know you're afraid. But these feelings, they're not your enemy. They're part of you, part of us all." A crowd of Zorax gathered, their skin cycling through colors so rapidly it was dizzying. One stepped forward, his form barely holding together as emotions threatened to tear him apart. "How do you bear it?" he cried. "The intensity, it's too much." Lyra moved to him, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. Immediately, a sense of calm spread through him. "You bear it together," she said softly. "Human emotions are strong, yes, but they're meant to be shared." Over the next few days, Lyra and Vexalia worked tirelessly, teaching the Zorax the human techniques of emotional regulation, while helping humans further master Zorax's mental disciplines. Slowly, a beautiful synthesis began to emerge. As the two worlds stabilized, reports came in from across the galaxy. Other species were reaching out, seeking guidance in navigating their own evolutionary leaps. The cosmic nexus had started a chain reaction, and Lyra and Vexalia found themselves as the reluctant leaders of a galactic renaissance. But even as hope blossomed, a shadow loomed on the fringes of known space. The void, the ancient enemy that had nearly destroyed the precursors, was stirring. Lyra stood on a balcony overlooking the transformed Zorax capital, Vexalia by her side. In the sky above, the first ships of a unified human Zorax fleet were taking shape, preparing for the battle to come. "Do you think we'll be ready?" Vexalia asked, her voice tinged with worry. Lyra gazed at the stars, feeling the collective strength of billions of awakened minds across the galaxy. "I don't know," she admitted, "but together we have a chance. And sometimes a chance is all you need." As if in response, a brilliant light streaked across the sky. Another species reaching out, ready to join the Galactic Alliance. Lyra smiled. The true test was yet to come, but for the first time since this journey began, she felt a spark of genuine hope. The age of isolation was over. The galaxy was awakening, evolving, uniting. And whatever darkness lay ahead, they would face it as one. Convergence, the void beckons. The Galactic Alliance, forged in the crucible of evolution, faced its ultimate test as the void, an ancient cosmic horror, crept ever closer to the heart of civilized space. Lyra Chen and Vexalia, the unlikely heroes who had catalyzed this new era, found themselves at the center of humanity's last stand. The joint human Zorax fleet hung in high orbit above Earth, a dazzling array of hybridized technology that would have been impossible mere months ago. Ships pulsed with living energy, melding the best of both species' ingenuity. On the bridge of the flagship Nexus Ascendant, Lyra stood before a holographic war table, her skin shimmering with complex patterns that reflected her inner turmoil. Beside her, Vexalia's now expressive eyes scanned tactical readouts within human speed. "The void has consumed 3 more systems," Vexalia reported, her voice tight. "Its rate of expansion is increasing exponentially." Lyra nodded grimly. "Then we strike now, before it can grow any stronger." As if on cue, a transmission crackled to life. The hologram shifted, showing the face of Admiral Zhang, her features a perfect blend of human determination and Zorax serenity. "Nexus Actual, this is Earth Command. The Galactic Fleet is assembled and awaiting your order." Lyra took a deep breath, feeling the weight of countless lives resting on her next words. "Admiral, the time has come. Initiate Operation Starforge." Across the galaxy, ships of 1,000 designs, each representing a different awakened species, burst into action. The plan was audacious. Use the combined psychic might of trillions of evolved beings to forge a weapon capable of sealing the void. As the fleet journeyed towards the edge of known space, Lyra and Vexalia retreated to a specially designed meditation chamber. Here, they would serve as the focal point for the galaxy's collective will. The chamber hummed with ethereal energy as the two friends sat facing each other, their hands intertwined. As they closed their eyes, their consciousness expanded, touching the minds of every being in the Alliance. Lyra gasped as the full weight of galactic consciousness flooded her senses. Joy, fear, hope, determination. The emotions of trillions washed over her like a tidal wave. Beside her, Vexalia trembled, her Zorax heritage struggling to process the intensity of feeling. "Focus," Lyra whispered, as much to herself as to her friend. "We are the bridge, the conduit. Let it flow through us." As their minds sensed, a miracle began to unfold. In the space between the fleet's ships, energy coalesced. Raw thought and emotion given form, shaped by the collective will of an entire galaxy. On the bridge, Admiral Zhang watched in awe as a massive construct took shape. It resembled a vast, multidimensional lotus, each petal a sheet of pure psychic energy. Starforge is operational, she reported, her voice filled with wonder. Nexus Actual, we await your command. In the meditation chamber, Lyra and Vexolia's eyes snapped open in perfect unison. When they spoke, it was with the voice of the galaxy itself. Advance. The fleet surged forward, Starforge at its center, towards the roiling darkness of the void. As they approached, the true horror of their enemy became clear. It was not simply darkness, but an absence, a negation of reality itself. Tendrils of nothingness lashed out, hungrily consuming ships at the fleet's edge. The void's presence was like a psychic scream, threatening to overwhelm the collective consciousness. In the chamber, Lyra and Vexolia fought to maintain their connection. Blood trickled from their noses as the strain of channeling so much psychic energy took its toll. We need to get closer, Lyra gritted out. Starforge needs to touch the heart of the void. Vexolia nodded, her face etched with pain and determination. Together then, one last push. They delved deeper into the collective consciousness, drawing on reserves of strength they didn't know existed. Through their link, they felt the sacrifice of ships and crews on the front lines, buying them the time they needed with their very lives. Finally, Starforge reached the edge of the void. Its petals began to unfurl, each one a concentrated beam of galactic will. The void recoiled, for the first time showing something akin to fear. Now, Lyra and Vexalia cried in unison. Starforge bloomed, its petals expanding to create a vast, multidimensional cage. The void thrashed and writhed, but the power of an entire galaxy united proved too strong. Slowly, inexorably, the cosmic horror was sealed away. As the last petal locked into place, a shockwave of psychic energy burst outwards. Across the galaxy, beings of every species felt a moment of profound connection, a shared triumph against the darkness. In the meditation chamber, Lyra and Vexalia collapsed, their bodies pushed to the absolute limit. As consciousness faded, they shared a single joyous thought. We did it. Days later, as the fleet made its triumphant return, Lyra and Vexalia stood on the observation deck of the Nexus Ascendant. The galaxy spread out before them, forever changed by the crucible they had endured. What now? Vexalia asked, her voice soft with wonder. Lyra smiled, taking her friend's hand. Now we build, we learn, we grow. Together. As if in response, a new star blazed to life in the distance. Not a natural phenomenon, but the birth of something new. A galaxy-spanning civilization, born from the union of countless awakened species. The age of isolation was truly over. Humanity, the Zorax, and 1,000 other races had not just survived, but transcended. The void had sought to end them, but instead, it had forged them into something greater than they ever could have become alone. As Lyra and Vexalia gazed out at the infinite possibilities before them, they knew that this was not an ending, but a beginning. The next chapter in the greatest adventure the universe had ever known. The story of a galaxy awakened, united, and reborn.